Hello there, Mia Gradney here with a look at what's making headlines in Houston. Starting with a woman in a Tomball senior living complex. She says she's living in a mice-infested apartment where she says dozens of rodents, she's seen them just in the last few weeks. Now, she reached out to KHOU 11 and Michelle Choi went there to get answers.
Yeah, residents here tell me they are frustrated, saying it took months of complaints and even the city stepping in order for them to see any real action. The complex disputes those claims, but either way, for 87-year-old Janice Crow, it's been a nightmare.
See under here where they have chewed the cabinet.
Mouse traps, food stored in coolers, towels stuffed under doors. That's been Janice Crow's reality since January. How many mice have you caught in the last several weeks?
I think it's 43.
87-year-old showed us droppings throughout her apartment, as well as holes she says mice chew through here at hometown at Tomball, where she's lived for 4 years. During our interview, we could even hear the squeaking. Miss Janice, I can hear them.
Yes, that's the mice in there now.
Crow says she stopped cooking months ago to avoid her infested kitchen and orders meals instead. Sleep is the biggest challenge.
It's awful. I can't sleep. I don't know when I have slept. I will get in the middle of the bed and I'll wrap myself in the sheet like a mummy, and then I'll wear a mask and leave the lights on because they're not as active with the lights on.
She now sleeps in a recliner instead. And while we were inside her apartment today, our photographer even helped catch 2 live mice.
This is Scott McKinney, our brave photog, removing the mice from Miss Jan right now.
Miss Crow has trapped at this time over 38 mice.
That letter sent to the city of Tomball by neighbor Susie Whedon helped prompt an enforcement officer to come inspect the property this week.
Because these senior citizens cannot do more, than they're trying to do taking care of themselves.
Management at the complex answered our questions via email, claiming they got the first complaint just a couple weeks ago and have addressed the issue by patching holes. But Whedon says more still needs to be done because Janice is paying out of pocket for traps. You need help.
I need help. Desperate. I need help.
Yeah, in addition, the complex management tells us that Janice is currently the only resident who's complained about mice infestation, but they do have bait stations around their buildings. Now, the city of Tomball also got back to us and said that they will continue to monitor the situation and make sure it gets resolved. In Tomball, Michelle Choi, KHOU 11 News.
Hopeful Miss Janice gets a solution sooner than later. Now this, federal agents targeting suspected mail thieves in Houston, and we were the only station on the scene as Postal inspectors raided what they call an illegal game room. Jason Miles is in the A-Leaf area with how it ties into Postal crimes.
Not only was this building raided, we saw a car out front torn apart as well, and we spotted what appeared to be possibly stolen mail.
This is video shared by a neighbor of U.S. Postal inspectors on the scene of an allegedly illegal game room just off the West Park Tollway. And while gaming machines were visible through the forcibly entered front door, agents were primarily after evidence of mail theft or fraud, the profits of which are allegedly used to fund many other crimes.
Over the past 2 weeks, we've seized firearms, we've seized narcotics, we've seized, financial documents.
Houston Inspector in Charge Shamika Jackson spoke on our morning show about the aim of a targeted 2-week-long crackdown.
To dismantle organized criminal networks that are tied to these illegal game rooms and their associated activity, and that includes mail theft as well as financial crimes.
Former Houston Chronicle crime reporter Eric Hansen.
That's good to hear.
Became the subject of a story we did after checks he sent in the mail were intercepted and washed, then used to temporarily wipe out one of his bank accounts.
Have you changed anything at all?
Yes, I haven't mailed the check since then. That was October. I've not mailed anything. No checks.
Hansen even did what officials suggest, and that's to send checks or other important documents from inside physical post offices.
But now, you're not even safe at the post office, so it's good to hear that the postal authorities are really clamping down on this.
While this special operation may be ending, postal inspectors say efforts will continue to try and deliver more arrests related to mail theft.
We're still waiting on details about what may have been seized here today. Meanwhile, advice for you includes checking your mail daily and trying not to send cash or checks in the mail. Reporting from the A-Leaf area, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
Now to a woman's warning after losing more than $90,000 to a scammer. Maria Aguilera has her story.
It devastated me. 66-year-old Cindy Finney says she was trying to start over after losing her husband and selling her home.
And I was just in a very, very vulnerable and depressed state.
Weeks later, she was targeted with a pop-up on her computer warning her device had been infected. She called the number and says she was told to file a report with the Federal Trade Commission. About an hour later, she says she got a call from someone claiming to be an FTC agent.
He had seen my report, but I was already under investigation anyway for money laundering, criminal activity, and possible terrorist affiliations. I lost my mind. I was terrified.
She says the calls continued for 2 weeks. The man on the phone sent documents that looked official. She says she was told her social security number was linked to 5 bank accounts, 4 businesses, and criminal activity. And she was instructed to move her money into a safe account. So she did.
So I lost that money.
How much was it?
$90,000, which to me was like $1 million. It was devastating. It was devastating.
Sadly, it's common. Last year, Texas reported more than $1.35 billion lost to scams, according to the American Association of Retired Persons.
Pause, reflect, and really start protecting yourself.
AARP Texas State Director Lisa Rodriguez says most scams share 3 common red flags: an unexpected contact, a heightened emotional state, and an urgent request for money.
How likely is it for them to recover that money once it's gone?
Slim to none, unfortunately.
In Cindy's case,
I finally came to the point where nothing's going to happen for me, but I can help somebody else.
Now, many businesses are navigating a difficult economy as well, and several businesses, including a Houston brewery, have announced they are closing. But Platypus Brewing says it's working on a new project. Here's Troy Kless to explain.
Where the magic happens.
In Platypus Brewing, the Australian spirit is present, especially in the beer brewed by Sean Hanrahan. Anyone in particular that holds a special place in your heart?
Oh, it has to be the Bobby Dazzler. Aussies who are fresh off the boat, as we call it. When they come in, I'll say, here, try this. And they go, oh yes, that reminds me of home.
Platypus made a home on Silver Street for 9 years, but the lease is up at the end of May. Following what Hanrahan calls a down 2026, paired with rising business costs, a decision was made.
We looked at each other and we said, look, is this the right exit point for the business? We've achieved what we wanted to achieve.
But they are turning the key. Like many other small businesses, Christina Lewis is a financial advisor who just moved into 19th Street in the Heights.
The on-again, off-again tariffs and the and all of the changes that are coming down.
The state of the economy hitting everyone, especially food and drink.
We're the front line of that, and yes, we have seen in 2026 a material change in terms of people's spending habits, but we think that's short term.
The Greater Houston LGBTQ+ Chamber of Commerce is assisting where they can. Tammy Wallace says help with rent, health insurance, and more is out there.
Whether it's a business plan or trying to get over this financial mountain that they're having to deal with. It's all about resources, but it's also about connection and community.
Meanwhile, Hanrahan will spend the next year working on The Oasis, a new community hub on the 610 North Loop near Shepherd.
We'll put the platypus on the bench, give him a break, and whilst we direct all of our attentions into the next wonderful project that we have, and we'll bring the platypus off the bench and put him back in.
The beer will stop flowing, but Hanrahan hopes the support for small businesses keeps going. Australian spirit will live on in Houston. Troy Kless, KHOU 11 News.
And with that, that's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Mia Gradney.